Ladies and gentlemen, I know you are not watching yet. So, I'm going to give you some time to show up. To this topic, first, I'm going to introduce the gentleman's code. When we get there, to this topic, OTAs. They are happening right now. So, we're going to talk about them. That's the goal for today. But first, allow me to give a proper introduction to the channel. While I give you guys a bit more time to gather yourselves. And come say hello. And with that, we will begin. OTAs are happening right now, which means there are certain players that everyone is talking about with the Raiders. That is the purpose of today is I want to view OTAs with you guys to properly assess the team and how everything with the team is going. We are hearing nothing but good news. But let's see what some coaches have to say. All right, this is Andrew Janoko, offensive coordinator. Before I begin, here's a gentleman's code. If my thinking right, gentleman's code. Okay, we have to introduce the gentleman's code. Gentleman code number 1. If a gentleman is eating in public or in a place where you can see him, it's probably because he's hard at work, his mind is moving, and he doesn't have time to get away to eat. So, with that being said, I'm going to be eating while we do this because I'm hungry. It is my only time to eat because I have to go pick up the baby in like 2 hours. So, let's get to some Reddit news. Talk about what's happening with the team. Let's hear what Andrew Janoko has to say about the team, and we will react to this conference.
All right, well, here we go.
Hi, Coach. You said that Mendoza's mental approach, he's just like a sponge, and he even makes coaches think sometimes. How does his mental approach separate him?
Yeah, I think that's something we.
And to really test everyone, I'm actually eating spaghetti too, which if you want to eat in public, spaghetti is not the way to go. But hey, bravery. That's how.
Ask from all quarterbacks is just to know the whys behind every play, know the what, know the whys, and be ready to go above and beyond the X's and O's at times to make things right, and to know where guys are.
Let me rewind. I want to hear the question.
Mendoza's mental approach, he's just like a sponge, and he even makes coaches think sometimes.
Mendoza.
How does his mental approach separate him?
Yeah, I think that's something we ask from all quarterbacks is just to know the whys behind every play, know the what, know the whys, and be ready to go above and beyond the X's and O's at times to make things right, and to know where guys are at and where they're supposed to be at, so that you can help guys, knowing not your job but the other 10 jobs as well.
Okay.
What has stood out to you?
Right. Okay.
Outside of that, what else?
So that's a good point because, especially for the quarterback position, honestly, good football players always know what their teammates are supposed to be doing. That's what great football players are. They have to know what their teammates are also doing. That's what will separate a normal football player from a great.
Stood out to you about Mendoza as he's getting adjusted to the NFL level so far?
Yeah, I think he's a guy that wants to come in, grind every day, work.
Mhm.
All 3 of those guys come in every single day, and they want to work, they want to learn, they want to be the best.
Quarterbacks, right? All 3 of those guys. I was like, 3 guys. What are you talking about? Quarterbacks
in the world. He's got 2 guys in the room with him that just set an unbelievable example with the way they work, the way they prepare. So he's able to see that and grow within himself.
What's it been like?
You told us the other two guys in the room with him. How important is it to not rush that development in terms of what you guys want that final step to be?
Yeah, I think for
The question everybody wants to know: when is Mendoza going to start? That's the question. That's this question, right? Don't want to rush. Every time you hear the word rush, we're saying, when is it going to start?
for us, we're trying to create an environment of competition, trying to create an
Okay.
environment of growth for all three of those guys.
Okay.
No matter where you are in your career, that you feel like you come into that meeting room each and every single day, and you have a place to grow and learn and become a better player, a better competitor, a better teammate.
What's it been like for you stepping up into this offensive coordinator role? Any adjustments into filling this kind of a role for you?
Yeah, I think anytime you move into a new position, you have to adapt. But I've had some really unbelievable mentors. The guy sitting in the head chair right now, he and I have worked together closely for the last several years and years before that. So I've seen him grow and develop. Been there step by step with him for that. So been able to use that knowledge and then use all the other coordinators been around. Have some unbelievable resources on our staff that have been coordinators, that have been head coaches. So able to ask questions, get feedback from that stuff.
Sorry, I got to pause. Your shirt? Listen to your feet? Oh, that's interesting.
One of my first job in the NFL was working for Mike Sullivan when he was the coordinator, and he's one of the most trustworthy people that you'll ever be around. So he's been an unbelievable resource for me growing into this role.
Could have been potentially other opportunities for you. How easy was the decision to come with Mike here?
I think sitting there with my wife, and we were making the best decision for our family. This was something that we really we wanted to be a part of. We wanted to be a part of this organization. We wanted to be a part of building this culture, bringing the shield back, and then getting to work with unbelievable people, getting to work with really good people. That's something in this business that really goes underrated. Is when you can work with good people.
Right.
It makes the job, the stresses of the job, the good parts even better.
That's with any job, man. Any job comes down to, a lot of it comes down to who you're working with. That's why companies spend a ton of money to try and create a cohesive unit, because, man, a job will go to crash down if you're working with somebody who is just one of those people. Yeah.
And the bad parts, you want to fight through those things with the people that you're around.
Ron has talked often about a veteran presence is so important for a rookie, and in a perfect world, the veteran kind of takes the lead and the rookies learns from behind him to start. I mean, are you of that like also?
Yeah, I think that we have some guys in that room that have played a lot of football that can show roles, not just within the quarterback position, but you can see within other parts of the room that guys are able to help grow just their position group, but also the offense. So guys that Tyler Linderbaum can come in and if a young quarterback's cadence is just a little bit off, that's great insight for him. So all of those things, we're working together as an offense, not just specific position groups, but all of it. So where we can work there, and then we can work as a full offense, guys interacting with each other to grow ourselves and using veteran leadership, whether it be quarterback, tight end, receiver. Some of those guys have played a lot of snaps, helping younger guys within their position group, with also within the offense.
How have you seen Kirk?
Okay, because remember, OTAs is when you're largely when you're installing playbook, right? Especially with having new coaches, like the Raiders do. OTAs is the time when you are establishing the playbook, right? And assessing. I don't even think you would do much player assessment. Not really, because OTAs, you got veterans and you got rookies. You kind of know who you have by this time. You're really just installing playbook, right?
Being the veteran in that QB room, not only learning a new playbook and kind of learning the offense for himself, but also
Like that.
taking guys like AOC and Fernando under his wing.
Oh yeah, and OTAs are also places, times when leaders start to emerge, right? You'll start to see who the outspoken people are, who the encouraging people are, and also who the trash talkers are, because that's also part of football. So OTAs are really, OTAs are really really good bonding time. For any sports organization, the term OTA, it's in every single sport, and it's just time for bonding and just installing ideas and concepts from playbooks. Really, really good times.
Yeah, I think it's his approach to preparation. So how he takes notes, and then just the little tidbits that he shares with the guys, and he openly shares with the guys that, maybe this little bit of a cheat step to your footwork is something that's helped him get his shoulder open to a target. Things like that,
Okay.
or a memorization thing, how he remembers a certain play or a certain motion. Those are type of things that he's willing to share, and that they help, whether it's from a mental aspect or from a physical aspect.
Okay.
Rookies, a lot is being thrown at him at once, obviously, but when you see the confidence level
Sorry, my wife is texting.
in each one on the offensive side, what kind of stands out to you with these guys and how they're able to just come on the field and play?
I think as they grow their knowledge base, you see them play faster. So
Yeah.
as they feel more
Yeah.
comfortable within the offense, their knowledge base grows. Then you see them play faster, and that comes with confidence. So the more that we can immerse them in this system, allow them to grow within it, and then when the picture changes on the snap, if they can just react, that's where you see them. That's where you see them accelerate as players.
Vision do you have for some of the playmakers like Brock Bowers and Ashton Genty and getting to work with them?
Oh,
Just
okay. Before they do that, let me take a quick stand up and sit back down break. Be back. Ladies and gentlemen, okay. The question was about Brock Bowers.
finding ways to get the ball in their hands. Those guys are talents. They're proven talent. The more that we can immerse them in this, accelerate as players.
What kind of vision do you have for some of the playmakers like Brock Bowers and Ashton Genty and getting to work with them?
So this is
Just
specifically
finding
Brock
ways
Bowers
to
and
get the
Nash
ball in their
Genty.
hands. Those guys are talents. They're proven talent. Brock's been a proven talent. Ashton's done a lot of great stuff early in his career. So just finding ways to maximize how and when they touch the ball, finding ways to get them open, and then maximizing anytime they have the ball in their hands.
At the end of that, can you just describe Brock Bowers, like his approach to the game? What are some things, just your first impression of him, that make him different?
Of course, there's gonna be questions about Brock Bowers because Kubiak called him a robot from heaven, a football robot from heaven. So yes, there's gonna be a ton of questions about Brock Bowers because the national media is really hyping up. Not hyping. What? I mean, correctly talking about Brock Bowers like they should be, and a few other Raider players are getting uh the noise they need to get because we do have some exceptional players in some really key positions. Even though the team has not been performing well, it doesn't mean that the team is starving of talent. There's a ton of talent on the team, and I do like somebody drawing that out. I think that's a really good idea.
For or stand out compared to any other tight end you've worked with?
I've been blessed to be a part of some great tight end groups and be around some great tight end groups, and Brock certainly fits into that, right into those guys. And when you have a great tight end that can do stuff for your offense, that can change games, that can change the way you attack defenses. So just seeing Brock and his approach, he has that approach where he just comes to work every single day, and the guys around him, same what Mike, all those guys in that room, they just come to work. They know what to do, they know how to do it, and then they strive to get better. So seeing Brock, seeing Mike in that room, those guys, and then lead the rest of the offense, it's something that we feel very strongly about, and something that as we grow, it's something we hope that helps to contribute to our success.
Last week, Coach Kubiak said that Mendoza's growing one day to the next. Where have you seen the biggest growths in him, even though it's early in OTA?
Yeah, I think
Good question. I wonder if he's gonna say leadership. I before I let him answer, I want him to say like technique stuff, but I'll talk about the fact that Mendoza needs to now go in the center. Let's see if it just goes to leadership.
I think anytime you come out there, if there's something that he needs to improve on, he takes that step, whether it be getting away from center or it be something where he
Okay.
gets through a progression either too fast or maybe he's a little too slow on stuff.
Okay, thank you. Okay, we're going technique. We're going technique. Oh, I love this. Okay, so you mentioned it.
Growth in him, even though it's early in OTA.
Yeah, I think anytime you come out there, if there's something that he needs to improve on, he takes that step, whether
Okay.
it be
So he's accountable to himself. We know that. This is great.
getting away from center or it be
Getting away from center. Okay. That is, I'm going to guess he's talking a couple of things. Bootlegging, one. Maybe even getting out of the pocket, two. And coming from under center, three. Those are three things that I think he's talking about here because, of course, we know those are the three things that Mendoza has had to address because, in college, he was only on the center for like 5 plays. So, but going from under center is a natural way that a quarterback thinks about the game in general. So I really don't think that's going to be an issue for Mendoza. But I've also mentioned a few times that don't be surprised if you start seeing more RPOs in the NFL because RPOs do serve a very good purpose for quarterbacks. Not having to turn around or bend down and clearly seeing the field is really good for some quarterbacks. And don't be surprised if more teams are going to start using those concepts in the NFL.
something where he gets through a progression either too fast or maybe he's a little too slow on stuff. Just creating efficiency for himself in the room or in the classroom, creating efficiency with his mental process, or creating efficiency as he processes on the field, being able to take what we've done in the classroom to the individual drill, taking the individual drill then into the team drill. As you see that apply, that's where a quarterback grows.
Oh man, okay, he's good. This is good. Okay, so he's getting really detailed with the structure of the processing. Like, okay, Mendoza, he's gonna have to learn multiple ways, right? He's gotta learn in the classroom because we gotta install the playbook, and he's gotta take that stuff to the field and then recognize when he's not doing it well, keep himself accountable, which he's doing, and knowing that, yeah, okay, on the center. I guarantee you, Mendoza's first game, the number one thing everyone's going to be looking for is how does he process the game from under center. This is still the number one reason why we might not see Mendoza start week one. And honestly, let's just put it this way. This is the number one reason we shouldn't see Mendoza start week one. Right? Dude, the first preseason game Mendoza plays, dude, it's gonna be so. I mean, I hope it's the first game, right? Right? It might be OAC the first game. I hope it's the first game, right? That Mendoza actually gets out there with the first team for quite a bit of time. You know what I mean? Okay.
On Caleb Riders so far.
He's a guy that keeps working, keeps improving. All those guys in that position, it's a really enjoyable room to be around because what we've done in the classroom.
Was that a Caleb Rogers question?
Taking
That's
the individual drill, then into the team drill. As you see that apply, that's where a quarterback grows.
What are your thoughts on Caleb Riders so far?
He's a guy that keeps working, keeps improving. All those guys in that position, it's a really enjoyable room to be around because every day they're helping each other and they really push each other. Every morning, in the mornings, I love to go in and see those guys, and maybe I can get a joke out of one of the guys. But they're in there; they put in time, extra time. So whether it's Caleb or any of the other guys on the room, just seeing the effort that they're putting.
I think the question was about Caleb Rogers, the guard from last year, who by the end of last year was starting at guard. Because JPJ got injured. So yeah. Good question.
Their mental and physical abilities, growing their conditioning, all the stuff that we hope to build through this OTA period so we can ramp up into training camp.
Okay.
What's it like to have Tom Brady in the building? We saw him out there at practice today. Have you picked up anything from him since joining the team?
Yeah, Tom's an unbelievable resource for us. He's been very open. He's somebody that we can pick up the phone and call, or You see him around the building. He's the greatest of all time. So
what's the next question?
to contribute to my route depth, all those things. Are we gaining ground on our first step in the wide zone? So everything, our building blocks start there.
What's your excitement level for the possibility to play Brock more in a receiver role and open the possibility to probably put Michael out there a little bit more?
Yeah, I think we're just we're gonna get the best 11 on the field whenever we can.
Yeah,
that's what we're.
Yeah, the reporter was trying to get to a concept of pushing Brock Bowers more out to wide receiver. I don't know. Brock Bowers isn't really. He's a good blocker, but that's not really how you use him. But I also don't feel like you push him out to receiver is a good call. I really do think keeping him at tight end so he continues to hone all of the skills necessary to be a tight end is the better call. But the idea is, do you push Brock more out since we don't have a number one receiver anyways? You just make Brock play more out. That way, Michael Mayer, who is also a really good tight end and would probably be the top tight end on most NFL teams so that he can get more reps at tight end. Yeah, I guess I can see that. I guess technically speaking, there's really no way around this concept, right? That when it comes to the Raiders tight ends, there's really no way around this particular concept. That there's only one room for number one tight end, and we have two number one tight ends because again, Michael Mayer is good enough to be a number one on any other team, but on the Raiders he happens to be with Brock Bowers. So how do you actually manage two tight ends and give them both the necessary action for what their skill level demands? One concept is to move Brock Bauer more to the wideout position so that Mayer can actually play the proper tight end. And when it comes to blocking, it seems that Mayer is a better blocker than Bowers. But again, that gets back to this flaw that if you don't keep Brock Bowers at tight end where he dominates, then you're just going to essentially erode those necessary skills like blocking to be a tight end in favor of more of his wide receiver abilities. But because he's not wide receiver size, he will eventually not be able to perform as well in that role. So yeah, keep him tight end so he can continue to hone all of the skills necessary for a tight end, like blocking, reading defenses, reading linebackers, rather than just focusing entirely on wide receiver route options. Yeah.
We're using OTAs for the way that we can utilize these guys to the best of their abilities. Learning ourselves, learning our personnel is something that we're doing right now. What are the guys? What are the guys' route trees? What do they do well in the run game? How are they helping in protection? All that stuff.
Right.
So it maybe not one thing in particular as far as lining one guy up one place, but just learning the guys right now and how to maximize their ability.
The best 11, Clint mentioned a competition between Jack Besh and Dante Thornton. How is that competition going so far?
No, there's no competition between Jack Besh and Dante Thornton. That's not a competition. One of the things with the Raiders wide receiver room is people making concepts up that really wouldn't exist. Like somebody's asking a question, how is the competition between Jack Besh and Dante Thornton going? But Jack Besh and Dante Thornton are not in competition. They're two completely different type of players. You can't put them in competition. Dante Thornton is way faster than Jack Besh. Jack Besh is way stronger than Dante Thornton, right? Jack Besh is a better route runner because he's slower, so it would be easier for him to kind of cut and break better than Dante Thornton, who's running at a much faster pace, and then has to go from a much faster pace to slow down and make those cuts. And their trajectory is not even the same. The way you would teach both of them to play football, wide receiver in football, would not be the same. So there should be no competition between Jack Bass and Dante Thornton happening whatsoever because, again, they're not playing the same role at all on the field.
Yeah, I think all those guys are competing their butts off. They come every day. They come to work. Single thing,
that's
but it's
what you
something
can
we
say.
grow with.
And competing is just a way of saying they're learning. Yeah. The right Okay, let's do this. Let's talk about the Raiders wide receiver room some more, more in depth in regards to the structure and who those players are. Because the thing is, people are still asking, do the Raiders need a number one receiver? But the term number one receiver in the NFL would generally refer to a full wide out receiver, or sometimes known as an X receiver, namely somebody like who is the best current what's his name? The Bengals. Somebody like Chase, what's his name? I keep mixing him up with Chase Young. Whatever. The Chase guy. What's I can't remember any receiver's name if they're not on the Raiders. What's his name? There's another person that I'm thinking of. Jefferson from the Vikings. That guy. That's what people mean when they're talking about X receiver. Somebody who gets 1,500, 13 to 1,500 yards per year. Here's the thing though. The Raiders have everybody in house to eventually become that one person could eventually become that. Right. So right now the Raiders have three clear options of receivers who could potentially grow to become an X receiver. Number one is Trey Tucker. Trey Tucker's been with the Raiders for a while. I think 4 years in the league. He's on a smaller, shiftier side, but if he can link up with the coach who happens to be really good with working with guys like that, think JSN, you could unlock him and then he would become the de facto number one receiver for the Raiders. Because right now, if you're talking about just pure yardage and catch, our number one receiver is Brock Bowers, who is not a receiver. He's a tight end. So, the second option, though, is Dante Thornton. And the route for him would be, can he become a number one receiver in terms of somebody like a Randy Moss? Dante Thornton is 6'5", but he runs a 4.3, really fast. If he's able to de-accelerate quickly enough to make his breaks and polish his route running, he could potentially become, again, somebody who gains 1,200 to 1,500 yards per year and then become a de facto number one receiver. Think more like CeeDee Lamb, but Dante Thornton is faster than CeeDee Lamb. But again, CeeDee Lamb is a much better route runner, a much more polished receiver. But the idea is that Dante Thornton does have all the traits. He does have the height. He does have the speed. We can try and see if he can become someone like a Randy Moss, if he can just learn to run your routes so precisely and being able to read the defense as well, to know how to adjust your routes, to confuse the safety and the cornerback and give yourself more space to catch the ball, he could become a number one. And the number three option is the guy we just drafted, who is Malik Benson. No, Jack Best will not become a number one wide receiver. He's not. Jack Best will never be fast enough. Jack Best is a slightly, quite a bit bigger than a normal wide receiver, but slightly smaller than the tight end. So he's a wide receiver. So he's a big slot receiver. No, he Jack Best may land around 900 to 1,100 yards a year. But what Jack Best may be really, really good at is getting touchdowns. That may be what he's really, really good at, right? Because number one receivers will generally get you between 8 to 10 touchdowns. But somebody who's coming in from a slot position, that could be the person who ends up getting you like 15 to 20 touchdowns. If it works out that way. But back to Malik Benson. Malik? Yes, Malik Benson. Here's the third option. And the reason why he may work is Malik Benson is 6'1", 195 pounds, and runs a 4.3 something. Okay, that is your prototypical wide receiver size to speed, meaning he's not too tall to where hopefully he'll be able to break better because he doesn't have to stretch his legs as long. So he'll be able to make those cuts sharper. once he figures that out and then starts to understand how linebackers and corners and safeties are working in a unit, then he'll be able to start fitting his route into those nice pockets where he'll give himself a bunch of space. And because he runs a 4-3, all he needs is just a little bit of space. He can catch the ball and take it a long distance. If he does that really well, he'll become somebody more like an Antonio Brown, right? Or somebody like OBJ. Fast, got the height, got the good height of 6'1", 6'2", can jump. He did a long jump in high school, and has enough size to be able to hold up and not get injured every time he gets tackled or even break a few tackles. So those are the three options that we have that could become number one receivers. And this is the reason why people have been saying the Raiders don't need to go and get a number one receiver, because they have what could become a number one receiver in-house, and they have three of them. Okay.
Voluntary, can you talk about the importance of being able to work with the guys this early and having pretty much everybody that's healthy out there on the field with you?
I think it's a huge advantage. Credit to our guys. Credit to our guys coming in, wanting to get better and wanting to go compete. So it's a huge advantage. Not every team and organization is like that. So we're using every single minute. We try to make sure that every single minute that we're with these guys count, that we're not wasting a second, not wasting a rep on the field, in the classroom, in the meal room. Making sure that those guys are with our strength staff. They're maximizing that potential, and our nutritionists, our whole organization's bought into making sure these guys are in the building. We're getting the most out of them.
Okay.
What's the expectations for Trey Tucker in this offense?
Like all those guys.
Okay, that's a good question. Okay, this is a wide receiver question.
It's a huge advantage. Credit to our guys. Credit to our guys coming in, wanting to get better and wanting to go compete. So it's a huge advantage. Not every team and organization is like that. So we're using every single minute. We try to make sure that every single minute that we're with these guys count, that we're not wasting a second, not wasting a rep on the field, in the classroom, in the meal room. Making sure that those guys are with our strength staff. They're maximizing that potential, and our nutritionists, our whole organization's bought into making sure these guys are in the building. We're getting the most out of them.
What's the expectations for Trey Tucker in this offense?
Like all those guys, that the entire room, don't want to just single out one guy, but all these guys maximizing their potential, getting the best out of Trey, taking what he's done good, and then maximizing that, and then trying to get specific things for him and every guy to work on, coming up with a plan for each guy and how to maximize them, how to get the ball in their hands, and what they do once they get the ball in their hands.
Okay.
Just to that point, how does the plan change as you're learning about these guys? You watch tape, right, as they come in, but you see them on the field now. How is the coaching staff learning how to use them as we go on?
Oh, that's a good question.
I think that's a great question.
That's a
something
great question
that we talk about every day, about looking at a guy's profile. What does he do well?
Okay.
What is he maybe not doing so well? And is that something that we want to change through a technique or something like that, or are we shifting him into a place where he can thrive better, or be in a better place to succeed? So it's all a growth process. Each individual.
So that's the prototyping of football, and this is one of the best things about football, and why so many body size and types fit into football is, if a person is a certain size and height and runs a certain speed and does a certain amount of and does a shuffle in a certain speed, okay, how are we going to best use them in their position? Do we need to first try them in another position, or should we talk to them specifically to tweak something? So an example of this would be, and I said it in my last when I broke down Malik Benson. Because Malik Benson is a sprinter, is his ability to chop his feet so he can break on his routes better are not as refined. So he rounds his routes a lot. I think the reason he rounds his routes a lot, I'm not an expert, but I do understand the human body. I think the reason he rounds his routes a lot is because he has really long stride. And people who have really long strides can sometimes not even just sometimes, will often not be as good at breaking their feet to make cuts. So, which would mean that they would just be good in the straight line speed, which is great for survival. If you gotta outrun a bear, if you can just outrun the person behind you, perfect. But in football, we need you to stop quickly and pick up again quickly. So, in the wide receiver position, people who are able to stop really quickly and then go again, those are the guys like JSN, Antonio Brown, OBJ. Those guys tend to be really, really good at the wide receiver position. So if Malik Benson is able to somehow learn to chop his feet better, he'll make cuts better. He'll be able to fool defensive ends and defensive backs a lot better. And look, put it this way: that's the reason why he wasn't drafted till the 6th round, right? Because if he knew how to chop his feet better to make those cuts, I think his route running would be a lot more polished. So the job of the coaching staff would be this: first, can we address a particular technique with him? Can we just tell him something that's going to make him understand that if he does his feet a certain way, he'll be better making cuts? Or do we just need to then position him to a certain role, which for him would be like a deep threat, right? I'm hoping they can do better. I really do. If he can learn to move his feet better, I think he'll be better than a deep threat because he really does have the height. He has the size. He has the speed. His acceleration is not great. Again, chopping that feet. If he can kind of change his running technique and still maintain that speed, we might have something there.
Person is different, but it's something that we're constantly evaluating. Our position coaches do a great job of planning out their individual meetings and their individual periods on the field to maximize those opportunities. Each guy grows his specific skill set, so then when he gets into the offense, he can help us succeed.
We'll do one more, Sam. Last one.
You mentioned the experienced coaches that you all have on staff, a lot of guys that have worked with quarterbacks, and then you have a veteran like Kirk, who's, all of you are speaking to a young quarterback in Fernando. How do you make sure that, you guys are all working in concert together and not, confusing or getting wires crossed for a rookie QB?
Yeah, I think it's just about having one singular voice and us being all together on it, whether it's Clint, myself, Sully, any of the guys that step in that position room, making sure that we have our wires together, that we're making sure that we give one singular voice, whether it be to Kirk, whether it be to Aiden, or whether it be to Fernando, that when those guys hear that, they understand that there's a clear message, and if it's not clear, we get it fixed right away.
Cool. All right. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys.
Awesome. Okay. Yo. Yeah, Randy Moss was just straight line speed. In the benefit. Oh, sorry, you retracted that. To the benefit of Randy Moss, when Randy Moss played football, I think when Randy Moss played football, no one has just seen it. No one saw a Randy Moss before he came. Just like nobody saw a Megatron before he came. I think that's what that is there. Because Randy Moss wasn't a terrible route runner, but he definitely wasn't a Chris Carter, right? And he wasn't a Jerry Rice, right? Randy Moss was really known for perfecting his ability to go deep. Man, Randy Moss was special, man. He was special. So again, I'm Malik Benson. If he is able to quicken those feet, we might have something there. Okay. Okay. No, it definitely went through. I am. Let's see if there's anybody else that's talking. Oh, Trey Tucker. Actually, yeah, I'm gonna keep going for a little bit longer since you showed up. I'm gonna see Trey Tucker's about to talk. I'm gonna see if he has anything to say. I'm gonna kind of go through it quickly, see if he tells us anything interesting. I've been streaming for a bit. I'm actually about to end streaming a bit because it's Thursday. I have to go pick up my son from daycare. But between the hours of 12 and 1 is when I start stream. So today I started at 2. Sorry.
We've seen a part of this offense that maybe is conducive to what you want to do and how you kind of fit into it?
Yeah, it's a lot of things. We're very multiple. We got a lot of things going on.
Okay.
So we can pretty much do anything we want to do at any time, which is great. You know, we just all got to be on the same page and execute.
What excites you about your role in particular in this offense?
Yeah, I think Coach
I'm
Kubiak,
curious
his
about
big
that too. So right now, I'm really curious about Trey Tucker's role. What I'm thinking, my thought is he's going to play the JSN role. That's what I'm thinking. But again, Malik Benson at 6'1", 195 can also play that role. It just kind of depends on who's able to pick up the playbook better and who's able to run their routes better. So it should be Trey Tucker because Trey Tucker is more polished as a receiver. He's been in the NFL longer. So it should be Trey Tucker, right? You can tell Trey Tucker's around, how tall is he? I think Trey Tucker's around 6 foot. Definitely no more than 6'1", I don't think. But you can see he's built. He's got some muscle. He's big, so he can play that slot role really, really well. So I think the JSN role is the plan for him, if you can figure that out.
Thing is just being able to do multiple things. So not just lining up at one spot and playing that spot, but
right.
lining up at all three. So in our scheme, you'll see guys everywhere. And
all three. So he means both. He means wide out, X. And he also means slot, and I think he also means the other side, right?
That's the whole versatility part. So I'm excited to do that. Excited to do a bunch of different things. You'll see me here, you'll see me there, you'll see that guy here, there. So we'll be all over the place.
Just for you, what's it like going into year 4 in the NFL for you, and how maybe things feel different or similar to years past?
Yeah,
man, I wish I could get some Raider merch, man. I really want some Raider merch.
I would say a lot more confident. I come in, I know what's expected of me.
Okay.
To me, it's a 365 thing. I work all year round at this. That's what I love to do. So
I really think Trey Tucker can become quite good under Kubiak. I really do, because again, he has the speed. He's got the perfect heights to come from the slot position, or you put him at a wide out position, and then you maybe motion him back inside. He's got the tools. I get to
come in and work, and now I'm a leader in the room. So my job is obviously to get the young guys going in the right direction, and
he's right about that
going
too.
Out there and being the standard.
What is that like for you, kind of being the mentor now among this wide receiver group?
I was very fortunate to have some great guys in my room. When I'm very excited to have them here. It's insane life, but when we're here, let's get to work. Let's do what we need to do. Let's win games. And let's have fun.
Just in regards to Fernando Mendoza, I know it's been early so far. Just what stands out to you about how Mendoza has trying to adjust himself to the NFL level?
I would say
okay. I'm gonna just say this. You see that smirk he gave? This is about to be a really good answer.
We're here to win games. We're here to play football.
I'm pretty sure he really likes. He really likes
that's
Mendoza.
the whole goal. So. All the extra stuff, that's what you do in your outside life. But, when we're here, let's get to work. Let's do what we need to do. Let's win games and let's have fun.
Just in regards to Fernando Mendoza, I know it's been early so far. Just what stands out to you about how Mendoza has trying to adjust himself to the NFL level?
I would say his mentality as a rookie is elite. It's insane. A guy for, where he's been, throughout his career. It's insane. And it's also really cool to see. He was the #1 overall pick. But you would think that, he comes in as an undrafted guy, the way he works, the way his mentality is, and that's really what you want, for a guy like that. And he knows the expectations are big for him, and he's got a bright future, but he's been tremendous, and I'm very excited to work alongside of him.
There you go.
What different is he from what you might have seen on TV?
That's a good question.
How is it different? That's a good question. How is it different?
I would say, from watching him, I think he's everything, but I would say just for me, I didn't realize how tall he was.
Thank you. Okay, so that's the thing. I'm telling you, that's what I've been saying. I think he hesitated because he didn't want to say it, but no, you got to say it. Mendoza is way bigger than you would think he is. Mendoza's big, man. He's really big. 6'5", 225 pounds. He's big. And in today's NFL, I'm taking that. I'm down with that. That's Josh Allen, man. If he can. Anyways, let's not get ahead of ourselves. But I'm glad he said it, because that is the #1 thing about Mendoza. He is big. He said tall, but I think he's just big overall.
He's very tall and he's big, and
there it is.
So
yeah. I feel like he didn't want to say it just because, like, but no, that is the number one thing. He's a really big dude.
Coordinator since you've been drafted, how has that impacted you?
Yeah, for me, honestly, I've been blessed to be able to learn. Obviously, you don't want to have multiple different offensive coordinators.
All right, let's move on a bit.
And that's what's going to make us better. There's no complacency in the room. And all the guys know that, and that's what we're out here to do. So, the guys we have in the room.
Who has talked?
Whole new playbook.
Okay.
So, what's been the adjustment, I guess, process for a new team for the first time in your career? You're kind of going through this. What's that been like?
Yeah, it's been fun. Obviously, whole new staff, whole new playbook, whole new teammates. Just trying to blend in with each other and just be the best possible teammate I can be for the guys.
Nice camera adjust there.
Obviously figuring out how we, what makes us tick.
Camera adjust.
How we operate on a day-to-day basis, and it's been fun to go through that journey with the guys here.
How would you assess your acting skills, and who was the best and worst?
That's for the Step Brothers skit that he did.
Honestly, me and Colton killed it. First try,
Of
I
course.
didn't know if we need to do another one.
Of course.
So I think pretty good. But it was fun. We were able to do that, and hope the fans enjoyed it.
It was fun. It was
talked
fun.
about your ability maybe to help often a kid like Fernando Mendoza in terms of whether it's cadence or whatever. Like, what have you seen from him in terms of trying to learn how to be a professional quarterback?
Yeah, he's been great. Soaking in everything he's being taught. Trying to take it and then apply it into the classroom and onto the field.
Okay.
You can tell he wants to be great, and that's all you can ask for these.
Typical answer.
Oh, okay. Sorry. And help push everyone along. And with that being said, it makes us better as well.
What's it been like working with Rick?
Say that again.
Working with Rick Benson.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Rico, there you go.
Yeah, Rico, okay.
It's been awesome. Tons of experience, and all the coaches in there with Mario and Ben. Just
Is it for a young guy like Mendoza to kind of really get that communication going?
Yeah, I think that's the biggest part of it is just whenever
communication between him and
it's the
Mendoza.
whole line and quarterback has to work in one and see the same things together, whether it be protection, run game, and it's obviously center quarterback job to communicate with each other and be on the same page. So just having that dialogue is big. It resonates with us.
What's the communication process been like between you and the quarterbacks that you've been working with? How important is it for a young guy like Mendoza to kind of really get that communication going?
Yeah, I think that's the biggest part of it is just whenever I think it's the whole line and quarterback has to work in one and see the same things together, whether it be protection, run game, and it's obviously center quarterback job to communicate with each other and be on the same page. So just having that dialogue is big with whatever quarterback's in there with us. Is important, and it's only going to build a stronger connection and get better as time goes on and as we get more reps. But happy with how we're moving along and processing everything.
You talk about
Yeah, he sounds really, really up there, man. Like he definitely sounds really confident when he's answering questions. Like, he seems to clearly know what the center position is, who he is as a center. That he kind of understands the relationship well between him and the quarterback and what essentially happens on the field. Yeah, that's a really good answer, and that was a really good question.
A new team and new coaches, new scheme for the first time. Can you talk a little bit about what your job is as a center in this Clint Kubiak offense?
Yeah. I think most important is just communication. I think that's everywhere. Center's job, communicating, being a leader on that offensive line and trying to get people in the right places and communicate as loud and effectively as possible. And then on the flip side of that, having communication with the quarterback, making sure everyone's on the same page and seeing it in the same lens. And as we move along, continue to learn the offense as a unit, and then we'll get closer and closer to where we want to be. But we're a long ways from that, and we just got to keep getting better.
Either you blocked for Derrick Henry for a number of years. What stands out early on about Ashton Genty?
Okay,
I think one, you in this time period, you see how people work. It's obviously hard to get an idea of everyone's skill set on the field with no pads or live bullets, but just seeing Ashton work and how he goes about his day, his operation, how he wants to get better. That's what you appreciate out of a young guy, and I think he's a guy that's obviously going to have to play a big role in our offense this year, and we're excited for him.
What has been your impression of Clint Kubiak as a coach and kind of like his little straightforward?
There's some really good questions, man.
Mentality.
Yeah, I think as players, you don't want things, you don't want any gray area. You want things to be black and white, and I think Coach Kubiak does a good job of that. His expectations, you know what they are, and if you're not meeting his expectations, then you understand that. And I think as players, it's our job to uphold the standard that he has in place, and then continue to push each other and push others around you. But it's been awesome to work with Coach Kubiak and the whole coaching staff. Trying to get his message out to the players. It's been fun.
Okay.
Like having Tom Brady out there at practice today and having him in the building, and have you been able to interact and pick anything up from him since?
No.
Okay, we're gonna end there for the day. Like I said, I gotta go pick up my son. We'll be back again tomorrow. Between the hours of 12 and 1, we'll be back tomorrow to do this for even longer. Tomorrow we're gonna be looking at some players though. But yeah, this is good. This is really good. Very enjoyable. Thank you guys for watching. If you're still here, hit the like, hit the subscribe, watch all the shorts, other videos that I'm posting. This is a brand new channel for anybody who was just like, I'm just discovering this channel. I just started this channel like two weeks ago. It is going quite well, but continue to support the channel in any way that you can. Thank you very much for watching. As always, grace and peace.